Today we'll be starting off with a seat at the table discussion, um, regarding the event that you have. When is it, June 7th?
Saturday, June
Okay.
7th.
You wanna
Update.
give us some details on that?
Wait, do we need to announce who's here?
Oh, yeah, that's
The
right.
introduction.
Yes. All right. Go ahead. No, just
Your name.
your name, sorry.
Hello everyone, good evening. My name is Mohammed Sheikh. I am the chair of Immigration Committee and member of Education Committee as well. Thank you all.
I'm Jackie De Jesus, and I'm the member of the Education, Youth, and Young Adult Committee. And I'm Joyce Pofus, also a member of the Education, Youth, and Young Adults Committee.
Oh, hi guys, Diana Leonard, Community Associate with the Bronx Community Board 1.
Hi, I'm Sarah Huda, a public art manager at New York City Department of Design and Production.
Everybody, Paul Chada, Director of Intergovernmental Affairs at ACS.
Stephen Goodman, I'm with Grimshaw Architects. We're working with DEC and ACS on the Horizon project. Hi everyone, I'm Noel Hidalgo, I'm the Community and Construction Liaison for Horizon Project.
Good evening, Madam Chair, ladies and gentlemen. Anthony George, District Manager of the Board. Just for the public record, our meeting is being broadcast live on our YouTube page, and it's being recorded by our minute keeper. Well, if you're talking for the first time, please make sure you say your name and title for the record so that the system can be able to record you. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
That's it.
Okay, so this is Joyce again, a member of the committee. And I just want to share some updated information about a seat at the table. So just to recap, we are planning an event here, Saturday, June 7th, seat at the table, where we are calling for our youth leaders that are at, that attend schools within this community, within our district, as well as youth leaders that reside in our local NYCHA residences. This past week and a half ago, Anthony did send a letter on our behalf to the principals of high schools that are located in our areas, in our neighborhoods. And as of today, Anthony just confirmed we've only received one response. There are over 20 high schools in this community, so that is something to consider in terms of are we moving forward and our potential next steps. I am one of the principals in the neighborhood, and I will get the kids for sure. But I, it's still a discussion. We need more than just two schools, right? And I think from our previous meetings, we had said that the goal will be to have at least 20 young people at this table, at this exact table, joining this conversation. So I do want to, just provide that update. I also want to share that I have drafted a letter and sent to Anthony to send to NYCHA house leaders to pass on. Were you able to
Yes.
send that letter?
Yes, done.
That was done today, or
It was sent to all. It was today done with all this morning done with all the NYCHA leaders, including some of you received it. Leaders received it in your inbox, and then also as part of it that it was sent
Okay.
along with the flyer that's mentioned.
I know we said that we wanted to be, I guess, gentle with this flyer because this is not an open event. Like, this is not open for the public, and really honing in on who should be at this table. Anthony, can you share more about who responded in regards to the number of folks that the one
Sure.
school wanted to invite to the table?
Sure, thank you. So at this time, and I'm going to talk about both elected officials and the schools. So we do have a general consensus of elected officials who are interested in attending. They love the concept of the event, and we can have an opportunity to talk to young leaders who are just like them as high school students or young people who are leaders in elementary developments to come and participate in an event such as this. So thus far, I've had soft commitment from Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez's team, who's going to work with her scheduling team to try to discern more about availability, that making this a priority for a schedule, everything is permitting, and a definite yes from Assemblywoman Amanda Septimo office. We are still waiting to hear back from Bronx Borough President Vanessa L. Gibson and New York State Assemblywoman Chantel Jackson.
I'm
We-
sorry, can you repeat that? My pen went out. You said a definite from who?
A definite yes from New York State Assembly member Amanda Septimo,
Okay,
and we are waiting to hear back from Bronx Borough President Vanessa L. Gibson and Chantel Jackson.
got it.
Wait, so Hatfield's coming?
Well, that's a
No,
soft,
this
that's a
is
soft commitment. It's
So
based
today,
on
we're still
schedule.
basing on scheduling and seeing about working on her availability, so we have not confirmed it. These are all verbal communications,
Mhm.
so that's why I call soft until I have definite confirmations already. This is my experience. I hope you guys can appreciate that.
Can you close the door?
So,
Thank you.
I don't know if other folks have, if there are other elected officials that we talked about, and I don't think Joyce and everybody else were giving up a call on Sundays to break this committee together.
That was my second order, was to actually talk about the
The
Sunday
Sunday,
calls
right.
to see what sort of time we can set. Nisha had asked that we make it earlier than, I think initially it was like 8. And she said that was a little too late because people work on, Monday mornings like
Wait,
we all
so
do.
it's for it to be Sunday?
It's Sundays
Sunday?
we're called, but the time has been inconsistent. At the first call we did on a Sunday, I think it was like 8:30, and that was she had commented that it was a bit late. Then I moved it up to 7, and she went, it was limited folks that were on. We did not do a call this past Sunday because of Mother's Day, but we need to meet in addition to just this meeting, because we won't be meeting again as a committee in this space until after the event. So really having like a real conversation in regards to, are we going to be able to push this forward? Because, the time it is limited. And I know we wanted to end off with the intentions of trying to get information from, our target audience, so that we'll know how to plan more efficiently and better, and intentionally for the next season. So where are people at in terms of like just their level of commitment to be able to contribute to this? Because I know we all have a lot on our own personal workloads, but
Well, I could speak on my behalf. I know I wasn't able to come for the last 2 meetings. Now I'm available to do footwork. If you need me to stop by the school, how old do you want the kids to be? 16 and up?
no, well, we actually made that open. We made
Okay.
it open, which is high school age, and we were asking for school leaders to decide who would be able to come in to represent their schools. And we had asked that it be, 2 representatives per school. So the idea was that we have at least 10 at the forefront, 10 schools represented, at least 20 young people. But then that also doesn't include NYCHA youth leaders. So when we think about like youth leaders, young adults, it could be 14 to 24. But I think the idea was that it would be more of high school age, and that the young adult piece, like the 18, 19 to what is young adults to 25, 28, like what? I don't know. It's been a long time since I've been a young adult, so I don't know.
I was like 24.
34 is young. Oh, yeah, it is, right? It's all about the heart. But that would be like something separate, so.
Well, no, yeah. What I was thinking. Well, also, does it have to be from CB1 or yeah?
Yeah, CD1 was the
Okay.
focus, because also keeping in mind, and that's one of the reasons why we wanted to be intentional with also NYCHA reps too, is because some of the students that may go to school in this neighborhood may not live in this neighborhood. Like, I'm a principal in this neighborhood, but I don't live here.
Right.
Okay, so, but that is, you know what I mean? But we still wanted to create the space for them also to have a seat at this table.
Did we reach out to the email that Claudia had given us? And she said that was, she put it in the chat. The email address, she said that person is like part of like a big youth committee, and they have connections with all the high schools. in
Well,
our community.
we reached out to all the high schools.
So we
the
gotta
PD
follow
boards.
up. So we
We
gotta
will have to
basically,
follow up.
like,
Exactly.
tomorrow.
Exactly. But
But we should try, since we're not gonna respond, the email that Claudia gave us, because that lady had more connections, that Claudia had mentioned that lady would be able
Did
to
you send
connect
the
us
email
to
to
like,
CB1?
what
I
we
don't
was
know who that
basically
lady
looking for.
is.
She put it in the chat.
Education.
So what I'll do, I have a list of all our district schools here,
Mm-hmm.
and like the parent coordinator and stuff.
Tap
So I
into,
could
that's a
probably
good
reach
idea.
out and like separately.
So one of the reasons why I also asked Anthony to send the emails because it was like the official community board email address instead of our Gmail account,
I
right?
mean, that was working great.
Yeah, it did, but I wasn't
Don't
sure. Like
doubt us.
again, I'm speaking as a principal. I'm looking at a Gmail account. Like, who is this
Right,
asking
right.
for my students? I don't
Right.
know. You know, because
Right.
if they're under 18 too. So that was the case. So I think, but both avenues we can definitely follow up on for sure. I think I like your idea too with pair coordinators and maybe like going through them in addition to the principal route because maybe they'll be able to get the message. But when do we want to say like, okay, by this date, if we don't have this number of students confirmed, then we got to pull the plug. Like,
I mean, I feel
What
like
would you-
June 7th is probably a little too close. That's like next week. 2 weeks.
it's not,
2 weeks.
but
It's
yeah,
2 weeks.
it's a good 2. I mean, it's 3 weeks. It's 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Yeah, because the 31st there's 5 Saturdays in May.
So let's get we could always also have like YMCA kids come, right? Because that's our district.
Well, we were just talking only with schools because
Oh,
schools had
schools.
governments, had government.
I mean, but they
civic
could-
Because remember
engagement.
the whole point of us was doing this was to get them involved, to get them started to come to our meetings, what it is they
Right,
want to see,
right.
what it is. So it's like basically you want to stick to CB1.
No, I'm
It's
saying
like where they
YMCA
live.
right here. The
Yeah, but
YMCA
remember not
right
everyone
there.
that goes there is
Or
from
goes
the
to school.
district.
Well,
I mean,
but that
half
also
of
been
these
coming.
schools is not-
Well, some of the students who attend this school don't live in this district either.
So it was switched, so it's not no more for just CB1?
It's CB1 schools, but we're not gonna tell a school only allow your kids who live in Mott Haven or Port Morris to attend. Like that's not it. But I think what the Y may not offer us or provide us is like active members, like because we want vocal students, like vocal young people, not shy folks that may be hesitant to contribute to the conversation. So we figured that schools will know their students well enough to say, okay, this is a student who can speak on behalf of the students at this particular school. You know, like they will be a strong representative because the next piece too is that we have to solidify our agenda, be able to share talking points with, officials that are present so that this is a fruitful conversation and then we can get, the information that we're seeking out of it, and it's not like an all afternoon situation. It's like an in and out type of thing. And
I feel like once we confirm with the team, I mean, we could give it like a week.
I think the 23rd. By the 23rd, if we don't have a
23rd?
response, we should, because that's 2 weeks from now.
so by the 23rd, how many do we need to, like, how many do we want to say that we want to have at minimum this number of participants confirmed by the 23rd in order for us to continue to move forward?
Yeah.
At least
I
10.
feel we'll tell
Okay.
you.
And then they starting tomorrow, we're gonna have to just follow up.
Mhm.
Follow up
So-
for.
That
So-
email
so-
thing
so-
that Claudia had mentioned, the email that is there, that
So-
they could get us what we would.
Right, and also I wanted to say again, just for FYI, I also sent a follow-up email to all the schools that we originally first reached out to encourage again and highlighting the deadline.
Well,
So
to look,
you guys should look at your emails, so you can look at the language in the letter, so you get a concept of understanding what the event is about.
you're CCing CD, you're
Yes.
CCing, what is it?
BSC.
CBX.
You-
That one? Okay.
And
So
in,
we had
and in your
access.
and in your and in your work and in your community board email separate from the committee emails, your CC, so you can be able to look at it.
Mm,
I'm gonna.
I'm not getting that.
You're not getting
I don't get
any
no
emails.
Only from, Dan.
Thank you.
Right.
I don't get no emails from community, from the board.
Well, you sure you're
Are you talking about the one you sent at 5 o'clock?
That's no, the one that said at 5 o'clock. That's the NYCHA one. But we also shared another one to the school again today. The follow up, as you know, you were on the list for the first one.
Yeah.
To your personal? Oh, yeah, I didn't hear.
So you should And if there's something else more, did you create a separate email for community board stuff?
Well, we,
I'm not talking about I'm gonna Jackie. She created a separate email because you get sometimes our emails go to spam. Other things happen. Did you create a separate community board email?
The last email I got from you was the 29th of April.
No, I'm asking you.
No, I didn't create. Yeah, I put it. It's linked for the all the community boards. And the gun you have Leonard, Diana. That's it.
So I'm asking. So when the borough, we'll talk about this later. But the borough president asked that separate from your Gmail, you get all your regular emails to, that you should probably create a separate email for community board specific stuff, just so that way, and that's just something that you could think about in the new season.
well, that's what I was. That's why I did
Right.
create that.
Right.
And Diana, you have updated. Sometimes I still get emailed to my.
The only
school
reason why
account.
you will have to receive this one for the senator, because see at the table is because you're a principal. So you should have gotten it twice.
Right. So I had both, and that's one of the reasons why I was saying like don't send things to my schools because everybody and their mama send emails to that, and it's hard to like flush out items. But nonetheless,
I wanted to also give an update on what school did respond.
okay.
So we did get an email from the Storefront Academy Charter School, who have fifth graders. They asked, can we invite 2 students, 2 family members, and 2 staff members for the event?
Wait a moment. How did they get the email? They got fifth graders. We're not interested in middle school.
This is part of the list that we received. So this is I'm just letting you know that this is what the email we did get back.
Wait. I thought it was communicated though that we were only sending this email to high school.
I was so if it was a staff error, it was the emails that I received.
It's
so
probably a school that goes from 5th to high school.
They're asking about fifth grade. It's not saying that they're just asking about fifth grade. It's not saying
Yeah,
that's what
it
they
probably
have.
was middle school that go to high school. Because
So
that's
we'll
a
go back
lot
and-
of those.
Right.
The
Yeah,
email,
that
we
was
sending out
shocking.
emails, there's gonna be schools that.
But
go
no,
from 5th to
what was requested was that we send emails to high school leadership.
Right. So the Storefront Academy likely has high schoolers. I'm just telling you, I'm reading
They
verbatim
K-12.
what they sent to us.
Okay. What's the name of it? You said storefront?
Storefront Academy Charter School. So I'm using the list that I got from my team.
So I'm now asking, is that list that you have from your team specific to high school?
That was my ask, yes.
You're asking us or?
No, I'm responding. That was my ask for my team. Give me the high schools. So my understanding that this school is like, it was on the high school list.
Okay.
we could have middle schoolers.
That's not.
13-year-old. There's I think that
There's
should, because we have
students
13. Remember, we young youth as well, not just young adults. Youth and teens are consist of ages 13 and up.
Okay.
So we have to take that in consideration. A lot of middle schools are.
They're
My son
smart.
is 13 in 8th grade, and he could be sitting here doing the same thing. So we cannot exclude them. A lot of stuff we do in this board, I know this is for ages older, but what about the youth and the teen that we are part of this committee?
So-
Because that's basically what the board is about, not just a certain age.
So respectfully, we had this conversation at the very beginning.
And I mentioned that in the beginning.
Let me just finish, please. We had this conversation at the very beginning when we were first talking about the seat at the table and who will be our target audience. Our target audience at the time was not middle schoolers. It was high schoolers. And then there was conversations around, well, what about young adults who are in college? And then we say we would table that. So at no point did we discuss middle schoolers too. Middle schoolers and high schoolers together are very different in terms of communication styles, how you frame conversations, how you frame events, etc. And then also we probably need parents more so with middle schoolers than we would with high schoolers in terms of who gets here. This is not an open event. So this was not on the table when we initially discussed it. Now, if it's a conversation around shifting our initial audience, let that be the case. But that was not what was discussed when we first engaged in this conversation around seat at the table.
Since day one, I mentioned 13-year-olds, and Diana's my witness because I said it before, and we could go back to the meeting. So we did the fair, and the fair was basically targeted 16 and up. We had kids younger than that. They wanted to participate and they couldn't. And I mentioned it there. Middle school, 8th graders are 13 and up. We don't, middle school, of course, we're not going to have somebody 12 and 11. They're not teens. There's not much they could do. But middle schoolers, you have 13, 14, and sometimes even 5th grade and 8th grade. 15-year-olds in 8th grade. So we can't exclude them.
I feel
Everything under
like depending if
that
we send
age.
out, the email and there's kids that are interested, because we still have to ask the kids.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a 15-year-old, 16-year-old that's interested,
14-year-old, 13-year-old.
I feel like that's great because even the one that's interested in even coming to even speak to council members, that's amazing.
So if I may add, if it's
I don't think
okay,
there will be a
if
disruption.
it's okay, I think this is a discussion that should be further on into those conversations that we have about this planning event, because this is why it's important for us to have this planning conversation. When we put this together, now that the letters are out, everything is out, this is, the planning conversations like this, and then on Sundays when we try to make all of our schedules work for it, is an opportunity for us to be able to work out those kinks. And I would suggest, because we did make an attempt to meet a couple of times as a team to help put this together, and while we try to formulate it as we are, I think, in the middle of the game, it may take some more putting pieces together in the concept. If I am, and I'm not speaking for Ms. Pulpus, but we must also understand the audience that is targeted to come in to speak to the young people, and whether or not the information that they will be taking, while we want to empower all our young people in this community and this board, we just want to make sure they are able to grab and assume the information and be able to use it in a way as they become the future leaders on whatever level for this community board. And so while it is up to you guys to formulate decision making and hold peace amongst yourself, I don't know if you guys all agree that these Sunday's conversations are important to have for us to get together, if make it so that we can have these conversations, because it is likely going to change the whole idea and concept. I don't know if you guys want to add.
So I also want to just add, storefront is K to 5, and that's probably why you have these parents that wanted to also join.
Sure.
So this is not a parent meeting. This was
Sure.
literally for teenagers. And again, that was what this initiated from. And I think we can have separate events that will speak to that particular targeted audience. We can confirm when is our Sunday meeting so that we can continue to hash this out. We said by May 23rd to have hopefully 10 participants, but that does not include parents. So what Sunday, what time works for people? Can we confirm that?
Anytime after 5.
Can we do earlier? After 5 Sunday? No.
So
I'm not available.
After, okay. No, right. So I'll do after 5.
So what time? Talk to me.
We
Time.
can do 6.
6 o'clock.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to change this and I'll pin the meeting link to the WhatsApp chat, and you said 6 o'clock, right?
Is there anything else you need from us to report back in reference to that? And we will go back to the team tomorrow and reevaluate to make sure that we don't have anyone that gets in that way from our team about we jumped early to high schools. Okay?
Okay. Next on the agenda is a presentation from the Department of Design and Construction.
Always helps to see it physically.
Yeah.
So. Well, while he brings it up, I'll allow some of my colleagues to introduce themselves from the architects team.
Hi, this is Yo-Yo Chen of Grimshaw.
Dave Jaya with Grimshaw too.
Just give them a moment to get in there and then I can.
I guess I can kick it off. Do people normally stand? Before I have to stand? Well, again, my name is Onel. I'm the CCL for the project. Thanks again for having us tonight. We wanted to, well, first off, the project. So the Horizon Islands project at 560 Brook Avenue. So these are additions. It's going to be done in 3 phases. Phase 1 is the exercise pavilion Phase 2 is the annex itself, and Phase 3 is outdoor activity space. And this project will bring new housing spaces to the center, dining and medical support spaces, outdoor activity spaces, and work is already underway. So we started by setting up a temporary swing space for the ACF staff, so they can continue working while construction begins in earnest. And now we're just starting Phase 1. We wanted to take a few minutes tonight to share an update on design, which is pretty cool. And the team at Grimshaw will lead the way, and they brought a cool model to show you folks. So pass it over to Stephen. Thanks again.
Yeah, so just to piggyback on that, we were here about a year ago. We presented the project for the first time back in June of last year. And the update is primarily just to show you some of the design modifications that have happened since then. So I'll walk you through that a bit and also just kind of give you a reminder of some of the goals of the project. Next slide. So just to locate it, it's just down the street from here, 149th Street, between Westchester and St. Anne's and Brook. Go to the next slide, thank you. Yep, that will show you more directly where it's located. As mentioned by Anya, the project is an addition technically, but it is an addition of several new buildings on the lot of the existing building, and will connect back to the existing building. Just to kind of put a visual to what was said before, it is 3 phases. The idea is that Phase 1 is what we call the exercise pavilion. This is outdoor recreation space for the youth. The reason that this is happening first, of course, is because the other phases of the project will occupy some of the existing recreation space. So we are trying to give the outdoor space to the youth immediately, so that then we can take the prior space and build upon it. Overall, we will be giving a net positive add to the youth for outdoor recreation space with this new Phase 1 building. Construction has started on that. They're essentially doing enabling works, and they suspect that's about a year of construction activity until Q3 of next year. Phase 2 will be the housing annex building. It's including a building that is sort of closer to me on the page towards Brook Avenue. That's the Youth and Training Education Center. The two kind of, let's say, buildings closest to you are the housing complexes of the project. And then Phase 3 is simply after some construction logistics, staging area gets removed, and then we put in an at-grade recreation space for the youth, providing outdoor activity space, housing, youth and education training, medical, dining, and support services. And the completion date for the entire project's targeting Q1 of 2029. So to remind of the goals, and these have not changed since last year, we wanted to create a positive integration in the neighborhood and community. We wanted to sort of adopt a new visual language for this project, showcasing this as a rehabilitated campus. Nancy and Constance.
Hi, how you doing?
We're also looking, obviously, to respect the context and scale of the neighborhood itself. So one of the redirects that we've done from last time is to really embellish in this idea that the project is a series of different types of programs in the campus, and that each building wants to express that a bit. Our prior design relied a bit on working towards the city's goals for dealing with the issue of the climate crisis. And we relied a bit on solar collection strategies, but we're changing that story a little bit to talk about the project as a series of buildings that talk about housing and recreation and training and education, and working, and we'll talk a little bit about with the percent for art and how that's also, we believe, helping to emphasize that. So this is the latest image of the building, which you can see sort of, it's almost the equivalent view that most of you have. Looking from the corner on the northeast, sort of from Westchester and St. Anne's towards the sort of southwest. And you're primarily seeing the residential building, which we redesigned a bit to kind of break down the massing with punched windows as opposed to strip windows, and sort of give it more of a residential feel to it, since it is a residential part. And then the exercise pavilion, which is beyond, does have a solid wall that we'll talk a bit more about. The wall is solid because of its condition against a lot line, and it's also a code condition for some of the uses in there, which is primarily for circulation and MEP and things like that. But we think that this is an opportunity that we'll talk about in a moment. The other goal, of course, is for the youth and the staff in the space by creating a normative environment, balancing privacy and security for the inhabitants of the space. And we're doing that with the interior design, creating dignified and generously sized spaces. And a lot of attention's been made about connection to the outdoors by virtue of allowing the housing blocks to be connected with bridges so that the youth are going outside as they go into classrooms and back and forth throughout. Yeah, can you show the next slide? So this is an image that we are sharing of the main living space. So it's a communal space. The housing typically will have about 8 residents per floor. And this is sort of their communal space to give you a sense of the look and feel of that. And then, of course, harnessing the restorative impacts of nature has been a big part and focus of this project. Access to daylight and sunlight, like we mentioned, a lot of the design is driven on that, as well as creating moments for horticulture experiences and things like that. So this image is actually the entry off of Westchester. This is a staff-only area, but it's a reminder that the staff also live and work in the space, and it's important for them, we believe, to benefit from some of the design aspects of including these biophilic nature moments. So this is a very, zen-like garden for them as they both enter and exit the facility. And then this is a view of the top floor of the exercise pavilion. The goal here, of course, was, like we said, maximizing daylight and access to views for the youth. So this is, we think, a gorgeous floor and very open and airy to allow them to recreate. So for public art, we're just giving an update here. We're not presenting anything, but there's a reason we're bringing this up because we'll talk about phase 1 a bit. So 2 artists have been selected for the Percent Through Art program. Sarah from DCLA is here that can speak more deeply about it, but essentially the program, as you know, provides funding for public art through the project budget. 1%. They started the process and made a selection back in March 6, 2025 this year. These 2 artists were selected. Tatiana, who will be doing work on the exterior of the building, and then Mark, who will be doing work on the interior of the building. They anticipate that the work in development will be presented to the community board, I believe, targeting the fall of this year.
Yep.
Okay. So these are just examples of their work in the past, not any proposals for this project here. So the reason we're bringing up the artists is in this redesign effort, we're seeing an opportunity here for the exercise pavilion, which is the wall that you see there. That rather than that being a blank wall, we felt that maybe this is another opportunity for an architectural artist expression. So we are currently in discussions with Tatiana, who will be doing the Percent for Art piece as a separate part on the YATC building to do a collaboration to create what we call an artist-architect collaboration. The initial thought here, and we don't have any images to show what that proposal is, we just wanted to bring you up to date that that's our intent, is working with a material such as perforated panels and coloration to sort of have an image come through on that building. We've just begun conversations with the artists. Our thought was that this image might be something about movement and sort of talk about the activity that's happening in the exercise pavilion as part of this overall concept that this is a campus with different types of program uses. And that was it. So this is the list of contacts for the project. Next slide.
Well, thank you guys so much for your presentation. I had one little thing on the last, on the artist idea
Yes.
for that wall. If I have like a request of a person, can it be something that's motivational, like speaking opposed to? There's a lot of kids that pass through there, and I wouldn't want them to believe that they could just go in there and play basketball or play anything,
Right.
because of that building, or what I mean. So it could be something that's like a motivational speech or something that is motivated, like when they walk into school, they read that and it could probably motivate them, more, not,
Affirmations?
yeah, like affirmation opposed to it being basketball, because honestly, when I walked through there, at first, I didn't even know what it was like, what it was gonna be, and the building looks beautiful. I would wanna say, oh, I wanna go in there, like what's going on in there, because that's supposed to be the most beautiful building on that area.
Right.
So, I don't want it to be too inviting.
Yeah.
I would want it to at least say something motivational,
Right.
inspiring, nothing like the kid is probably gonna say, oh, I wanna go there, 'cause that's exactly what's gonna happen. Especially with the high school across the street.
Right. And we recognize that, yeah, the school across the street is there.
So something that is like affirmation.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't
Something
mind going
that's-
back a slide to the artist, the artist we're working with is the one on the top, so that'll give you a sense of her type of work.
Okay.
How that gets developed and then transferred onto architecture is something we still need to work from, but I think taking your points is very helpful because we can certainly, I think that her work is quite inspiring.
And actually, as part of her finalist proposal, she proposed a few different images that had text that were sort of motivational quotes, but also sort of poetic motivational quotes,
Right.
taken from poetry. And she's really good with short snippets of words that are
that's
super
good.
inspiring.
Okay.
So I think she'll like that feedback.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
No, I was gonna answer the same thing, that the community board has been involved through the process of when the administration of student services and Department of Design and Construction went through an entire process through the selections of choosing the artists, looking at some renderings of the artists that were being chosen. And I'm glad to hear that she has submitted samples that we'll be happy to share with the board as we look at this stuff. But I also agree that in a community, unfortunately, we have to have a juvenile detention facility. We understand that. But in a community where there's always a comparison between the disinvestment in public housing and other aspects where people have to live in. Again, I agree with the chair and the rest of the community members, you don't want young people to aspire to be in a place where they'll get 3 meals and some therapy and all those things where they likely cannot get out of the street. That we like to be ready for them. And the deputy commissioner and I have had passionate conversations about this and an enormous amount of issues. And so they definitely understand the viewpoints of the board and how, and unfortunately, they'll raise the age, these things are possible. So our young people have to live in standards where there's meaningful housing while they're in. So, unfortunately, but I think it's definitely a good takeaway from that too. Inspiring, but not inspiring. If that's such a thing, and I think artists can do that. They wake up with different things all the time. So.
Yeah. Stephanie, I had today's reconstruction and those things. By the way, I want to say thank you, Horizon, because last time Community Board 1 physically visited the facilities, I believe, and this is the opportunity to work with community and the Horizon. This is something we highly appreciate. Second part, today's meeting is here, the reconstruction that you guys need a letter from our board to approve or something.
So I don't know, was there an ask for today? I believe.
I thought when we met, it was open, and so unless Constantine, different, we don't have an answer to that yet. We can follow up, because
I think our understanding is that the letter that the board had previously provided is sufficient.
So
But
this is
we're
courtesy.
kind of gathering feedback and information, and we want to hear from you all and keep you all involved in the process as we go.
Thank you, Mark. This is something that you proven that you are willing to work with the board and the community. And this is fabulous. And I want to say thank you all.
So I wanted to talk about the commissioner and the team. You guys all know that what our board is about, psychiatric meds versus meds that are there for. And we understand that psychiatric beds is a struggle when we're trying to figure out how many psychiatric beds are needed. When you talk about the changes that were made, what changes were made? Any changes made to the residential part of the facility at all?
The interior of the building has not really changed from the previous. This is primarily about the sort of change of the look of the building from the outside.
And the concept was to make so that to make those changes was because what drove that desire?
It's several things. The prior design had building integrated photovoltaics, which looked like PV panels, and we had lots of discussions with the Public Design Commission, who felt that this is a new technology, which it could be a challenge for the end users. And it also, it had a heavy look to it. And so we felt that both of those things warranted a redesign, meaning rather than have solar collection on the facade, we have retained it on the roofs of the PV canopy and still meet local laws and provide energy for the building and demonstrate that part of the project. We decided that to move away from doing the solar collection on the facade, which changed the look quite a bit. And that's why we went to the sort of concept of each building having a reading that's representative of kind of what its program is and sort of talking about.
So I guess we could say that we wanted to move the more gel-like look to a more innovative.
It was darker in the minds
Right.
of PDC, for instance. We went out there, we went through many iterations. We went out there with panels on top of the 40th precinct building, and just the material itself just generally had a darkish feel to it.
This is bringing more exciting colors to it.
Exactly.
Or
Yeah.
that reflects better off light, better off everything else.
That was another concern from the PDC, that the material might be too reflective. This will be much more matte because it's painted aluminum. The light won't, bounce off of it and back to you. We're adding a bit of detail that you can't try to see in the drawing, but it's trying to give it more of a residential feel. Before it was a bit more plain, because the idea of solar collection is to be, simple and plain, so it reflects the solar.
With the solar panels that are supposed to be on the roof, how much power is the solar retaining, and how much we use, and how much we to our facility, and how much is going back out?
I don't have those numbers off the top of my head, to be honest.
The facility is on target to be gold.
Yes.
So we don't have the details, but it still needs to be better in terms of energy generation.
You'll get some support from support who said that only that part needs to know, because if we look at some of the buildings that are here, that they barely make silver and bronze, so that as we look at energy conservation, or you want to use the solar and not any like rainwater collection and other environmental aspects to be able to look at the design.
Well, we have
stormwater. Oh, he's smiling. Yes, he's trying to do that.
We had looked at some other opportunities. We had looked at geothermal. It became a little complicated given our small space.
Sure.
Our need to stay active. So I think the team is looking at other kind of more targeted approaches.
And the building has to there's still people being housed there, so you have to do all of that, and while the same thing housing people, and you're increasing safety to the construction team, safety for the staff, and there were any changes made in the so, and this is internal, so nothing's changed inside there.
Right.
And then, what about where are all your mechanics? Are they centered on the?
The mechanical
ceiling,
spaces are on the roof. They're screened. They're screened and they're covered with canopies. There is, there's another element that's here, but it's also screened and covered.
And we anticipate that will survive any major storms and et cetera, et cetera.
We're above the 100-year floodplain. Not sure that can be challenged a bit these days, but
torrential rains.
Yeah, exactly. So no, the building is, almost the mechanical equipment is on the roof.
And then my last thing, I'm going to talk about recreational space. The ideas for recreational space is providing in natural sunlight and so on, which is great. Has that design come from the young people who are residing there? They say they want to have more sun on it, so that would.
Yes, we did a number of focus groups
Right.
with the young people who are currently in with us, and we showed them the various designs and they chose which ones they liked better. And then that went into the consideration of how we chose this. And all of that was brought to the PDC, and so we expressed the outcomes of those focus groups to the PDC. And so all of their input is reflected in the choices that are made.
And is education happening on campus or off campus?
It's same as now, it's on campus, it's gonna be organized a little bit differently because each residential hall will have its own dedicated classroom, not connected, but connected by a hallway. So it will be a more direct path to get the young people from their residential hall to the classroom. So we don't have to worry about traffic in the facility.
And it's not a co-ed facility, it's all male, right?
Right now, it's all male. I mean, at any point, we could change it, but right now, it's all male, and it has been all male for the last 5-6 years.
What's the highest charge if any of the young people were there?
Murder.
Murder? And the highest sentence?
The highest sentence has, I think, been 22 to life.
Thank you, Chair. This is for us? I mean, it's, again, like I said, I mean, and the board's talked about this a lot of times, it is, again, the unfortunate thing in our district where I've heard a lot of the board members talk about that we have multitudes of everything. We have a Vero-based jail, that's almost around the front of this. We have this juvenile facility. We have a 2,200-bed migrant male shelter facility. We have, so, and we understand the needs of the law requires this because again, how we want young people to live in dignity. Unfortunately, if they're involved in the incarceration piece of it. I agree with the chair saying that we want people to feel, well, I'm gonna go do a little Club Med vacation where I'm in the space, because if you look at how people are living in housing and even house, I don't know the principles as it, but some people, how people, some of our schools look, there are structures where we're trying to keep adequate buildings. We appreciate the investment, we just always have that reservation. So we understand the need. Thank you, Chair.
We do share your reservation. On the good news side, we just finished college for the semester.
Wow.
In both facilities, and we actually have a young person who was sentenced, and we held him a few weeks longer so he could finish, and he will be starting his sentence with 12 college credits. So we're really trying to position these young people as they move into their sentences. Or there's a young person who is in class today who will be released in 3 weeks, and he's going to be enrolling in Bronx Community College with 6 credits. So we are really trying to position the young people for success in whatever their next step is.
Are there any projects that you guys know with the neighborhood in this area? Like the YMCA or like the libraries, or are there any like for when they come out and like, you know, preventive?
We are working on a kind of re-entry plan. We have a number of relationships with community-based organizations where we regularly make referrals. We have a couple of kids who got out a few months ago, and they applied while they were in to be counselors, Fresh Air Fund counselors. So 2 of them are doing that. It's very kid by kid. A lot of our young people are older, now 18, 19, and they want jobs and job training. And so we're making more referrals in those areas. And not all the young people in Horizon live in the Bronx. And so we are we have partners in the other counties. And some of our young people are leaving the city to live with family outside of New York. For those who it might not be safe to stay here. And so we're helping to facilitate those and try to set them up in their new jurisdictions. So we have an assistant commissioner of reentry. We created a new position to lead this work that hopefully will be coming on board soon. And we're really focusing, we're working with the Fortune Society so that we can coordinate referrals with them and bring in additional services for this older emerging adult population.
And for young people who haven't come to Horizon, who might need a little bit of support in the community, we have a mentoring and advocacy program, which I believe we've shared information about in the past, but we're happy to do so again, which also has a Care Futures coaching component to it, which you may have heard something about, but that is essentially connecting young people with a coach up through the age of 21 so that they can have an adult that kind of stays with them and helps guide them a little bit through some of these challenges.
I want to add to the community board, this committee had an amazing youth job fair where we got young people, I'm not sure if I remember the ages of people are coming out of your system, but it may be something that will be replicated in the future that we think is definitely important, especially with the possibility of summer youth employment program not accepting all of our young people. Principal Popus and Jackie and the rest of all of the leadership of this committee worked really hard. We got, how many young people was it, Joyce? That were into our job fair? 100 people and multiple providers, and it was this amazing opportunity to have partner people not only into entry level, but it's also in careers and like in different areas that likely, given the fact whether or not a criminal history will impact someone's ability to get into a certain workforce, we believe is important for young people more than ever. And also there was definitely an aspect how much money is invested in facilities like this and other stuff like that. How's the commissioner in his ask the material of matching preventive services in all levels, criminal justice, foster care, removals, etc. People who are involved in the system for whatever the reasons may be, and prevention, and either folks going back into the system or either entering the system, and how many dollars of match to that, and to those aspects are extremely important because. So while we have 27, like I said, mental health facilities, these multiple type facilities in our district, if you can match saying we also invest millions of dollars in this, we can have a conversation, passionate conversation, obviously, of supporting that. So we'd love to know again what those numbers are, how much how those matches are to the investments across the board. If you look at the investments that are being made and facilities and other needed services that the agency unfortunately has.
Yeah, we certainly could not agree more. We are focusing a lot on how we can support communities. There's a program run by CASES called ACES. It's a very, very intensive mentoring program for young people who are very deep into street activity to try to pull them out of it. It's a 4-year program where they follow the young people. They work with them on an academic plan or a job training plan and eventual employment, depending on their age and where they are. We have a young person who was recently released from Horizon and immediately was referred there and then went for an interview at Co-op Tech. And they will provide services for him. He's in a very complicated community situation, not in the Bronx, in Manhattan. And had a lot of concerns, and his family had a lot of concerns about keeping him away from the elements that brought him to us. they're all credible messengers who are employed there. It was a program that was funded by MOCJ. We took it from MOCJ and we did a lot of lobbying in City Hall, and they have tripled their budget now, so they will be expanding. That we're hoping to the North Bronx. Right now they're in the South Bronx and Harlem. They're going to be expanding to the North Bronx, which, as I'm sure you know, it's been very busy lately, and to Brooklyn and possibly Queens. And so we are really, we're looking for both low-level supports and really deep-end supports to try to reach all the young people, regardless of where they are on the continuum.
And how do family enrichment centers help in that work? Because we know we have some people on the board who go family enrichment centers, groups that get engaged and involved. How are they involved in that support and I know it's prevention, but how are they involved in what you're talking about?
So I think the family enrichment centers are obviously much more family focused. They tend not to have the deep end services for the kids who are super sweet involved. Those kids need kind of a different level of engagement. We have found the family enrichment centers are very helpful for parents with younger children, and they're on a much more preventive level for maybe older children who are not on the streets and just need, regular after-school engagement and referrals. They tend to be better for families in those situations.
The other program that I think is worth mentioning that we hope to bring to the Bronx this coming fiscal year is a Girls Just Us program, which we piloted in the Bronx over the past couple of years. It's a gender-responsive program for young people who are at risk of getting involved in different activities, and it's worked really well in Brooklyn. We're very excited to be able to bring it to the Bronx as well. So that's awesome.
Thank you. About the architecture, everything's on schedule, barring no issues with anything construction-wise as far as this.
As far as we know, we're just the designers, the contractors aren't here, but dates that we had were given to us by them. It's an emergency declaration, so we are moving fast.
Everybody wants it done as soon as possible, so there's not as much construction going on in the area. So that's
We
our
do
goal as
too.
well.
We also, the emergencies get them the additional space, so that's one of the priorities beyond all these other goals that we.
Anyone has any questions, concerns, comments?
No.
Okay, thank you so much for your presentation.
Right.
See you guys soon. Everyone is fine.
Yeah, yeah, we're not done, Mohammed.
Okay. Okay.
Good to see you all. Likewise.
All right, good night, thank you.
Good night.
Good night, thank you. Yeah, no, it's in that phone,
Oh.
the number.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah. Yeah, speak soon.
I take yes and that is maybe Boston.
Oh.
Okay, I take. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll have time for.
Okay.
I tried to get him to make a few adjustments, but.
All right, so now we could go back to the old business. So we could And let me see, I need to get the email, so, alright, so then tomorrow, what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna start sending out emails to these schools again. Joyce?
Okay.
Now about this teen stuff, because I don't think it's that serious. To be like, to have like a attention about it or something like that. What, when we say we want teenagers, is 14, 15, 16 or no? Cause when we say teenagers, it's teen.
So when we initially spoke about this, with the new ideas in our meeting from April 9th, we talked about 2 focus groups, high school and college age. My experience in working with middle schoolers versus high schoolers is very different in terms of how you present information, in terms of what you expect to receive from them. And we discussed this event being tailored to teens, being able to share from their perspectives. I think we'll need to refocus if we were including middle school age students. Middle school is typically 6th through 8th grade. There are some schools and they start at 5th. There are some schools that are 6 to 12. There are high schools too, right? 6 to 12, typically the 6th to 8th graders are in one area and 9th to 12th graders are in another area. I think we have to really, like, we haven't created the agenda yet, but I think we have to be mindful of age when we are looking to get information and the type of information from young people. And young people is quite general because it also includes young adults.
Now, what information do you feel you won't get from them? Because remember, even my little cousin, the one that came, he was 14, he was 14, and he was able to articulate.
He's a
very
high
well.
schooler?
Yeah. So
We're talking about, this ignited from Storefront Academy, which is a charter school that's K to 5. And then in that response, they also asked if parents can attend, if other people can attend, a bunch of people can attend. And I'm just saying that then extends who's really at the table. Because when you have older, like adults and parents attending on behalf of their kid, that's going to shift the information that we collect.
If we're gonna do sit at the table and their parent come, they can't sit at the table. No, it's only just the kids. If we have
people 14 and older, like no parents.
If I bring in my kid of 14 years old and I know it's a kid at the table, I'm not gonna sit with my kid.
So a 5th grader is not typically 14 years old.
No, we already discussed the 5th grade. I think that email was sent. I don't know what.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, 5th grade. We already know 5th grade is what, 11 years old, 10 years old, 5th grade.
12.
So no, it's like 11 because Ethan's an 8th and he's 8th is 13 and 14. So it's like 5th is probably like 11. That's still too late. 5th grade is still too late.
So what is it that we want? What is it that you feel like we can't get from them?
I'm asking you, what do you think you're gonna do?
I thought the sit at the table was so we could all speak on what's going on in the community, what we want to see. No, that's not it.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It is.
And I feel like 15-year-olds and up in this neighborhood, they know what they want, but they.
I'm not debating about 15-year-olds. I'm having a concern about middle school because
That's
middle
what-
school.
that was an
ever. They said it was an ever.
Okay, so what is it? 14 and up? Okay.
I thought your
5th
argument
grade
was
is-
that 12 and 13-year-olds are not included in the
12.
conversation.
No, I'm saying like teenagers consist of 13 and up. Middle school already know 5th grade, that's still too young. 5th grade, those are little kids. We can't use them. But if it's a teenager starts at 13. We should hear them out as well as the 14, 15. 5th graders, 13-year-olds, we have them in high school and 9th grade. You have 13.
You do, right? I'm just saying high school representative. So whomever the high school representative is, that's
We
where
have
it's at
to-
because
that's
there
what
are
we gotta
distinct
know.
ages in terms of just the brain development of adolescence.
Maybe that could be something they put in the email.
Do we
Ages
know
14
when
and
he
up.
sent that email and you sent the actual age that you wanted?
No,
there's
no,
age
I can
on
read
it.
the email.
That's
What it
I'm saying,
says.
so that we
add
have to add the age. Like this is the
We're gonna
target
get
age.
questions like, can we bring this and this? Now, some teachers might think like, oh, this student is eligible to come to the table.
Well,
and
that's
all
why
this.
the email was supposed to be just sent to high school leaders. It wasn't supposed to be sent to all school leaders in District
In
7.
District 7.
That's not what happened, right, Anthony? You're saying that it was sent
I
to
said that
more
that
people.
was an error. That was an error.
So-
I'm not saying there's multiple errors out there. I'm saying that that was an error.
What was BCC? So how many emails? How many schools were included that
I
are
won't be able
in?
to see here. I have to look at the.
So we don't even know how many schools that are non-high schools that were invited. Would you be able to give us an update by Sunday to let
Yep.
us know?
Perfect, yes. Okay.
And maybe we could add the age in the email so that they could be aware and don't come. Well, I know someone else in this way. At least we can let them know. This is the ages that we targeting. This is the age. Your child is under that age, and no parents allowed.
There's only 6.
I'm not sure. I don't want to say yes.
Well, no, this is like what we got.
Right. I don't want to say yes to you on the.
Okay. So what we do is tomorrow morning, I guess, we'll go over the actual high schools in District 1 that we're responsible for. I have like 6 of them right here, but I will confirm.
It's supposed to be 19 DOE schools, 1 Catholic school, and 6 charter.
19. Okay.
You're looking at a list that you have, right, of this your school?
No, I'm looking at the notes that I
but
took
remember,
for my April
we
meeting.
don't have all the schools. That's probably why it's more. Yeah, all the 19, we're not responsible for all of them because we split.
What do you mean split? I don't understand.
I'm not sure what
Oh,
you're saying.
so this, we didn't say that some of our schools that's in this district, we're not responsible for some of the schools that we're in another district.
Right, we're saying that the District 7 has one school, one high school, and then other schools belong to different superintendents, with community schools, Bronx superintendents, and so on. So that's why she's counting 19 schools from the community school list, and I'm assuming you're counting.
Well, I'm
from the community school list and others, right?
No, I think it's from
right?
Chat GPT that Clarissa had looked up
Yeah,
how
she
many
looked up all the
schools
on CB1.
on CB1, and it came
And
up
it came
to
out
19, and then we had 1 Colonel, is that Colonel Hayes that's on Grand Concourse, and then also 6 charters.
Right.
Can you send me that list? You have it on the, you put it
No,
on
It's
we
not a
didn't
list.
have it.
I
It
was
was just
just
a
counting.
number.
I
We
was
did.
just counting the
We
numbers.
checked it from chat. We just did a Google like search.
Okay, okay.
That's what I know.
Okay, so what are the next tasks that we have for on this, so, all right, so now we're gonna reach out to all the principals, parent coordinators. Have something by the 23rd?
Yes.
Which is that? Right, so I'm gonna,
Have we confirmed the location, Lincoln?
Yes.
They confirmed this room and another room?
Right, they won't confirm it until towards the end of the month, so they confirm the rooms.
Towards the end of the month, that's the problem. What? I thought you
We
said that
asked
we were
for it,
months
but they
out.
won't confirm it. We asked for it, they won't confirm it towards the end of the month, so next week we'll know more. This is the way they run their spaces, the hospital is very active. And we use this hospital for multiple things for free without any cost associated. So if they have a system, I respect their system.
are we able to use the floor that we're using right now? In the office, 3030?
No, we agreed to. And so a lot of this is decided in those Sunday meetings.
No, I'm just asking, did we think about that? Oh, no, okay.
Do we have a backup, like just in case they tell us it's booked or something?
We can likely
Drink again?
use the space in the
No,
3030.
3030.
Oh, you can use it.
We likely use the space in 3030.
3030,
Oh, yeah.
it's really nice.
Yeah, and it's hours, so it's even
It's
better.
hours,
'cause
yeah.
that's-
I mean, not hours.
Not
But-
hours. Those
No,
are
but
the
you know
words.
what
Turn the
I
camera off.
mean.
Not hours. He's just talking to
CB1.
We're out here.
It's the seat you want.
Joyce,
Mhm.
is 30-30 an option or no? You didn't want that at all there?
I'm like,
You're
it's,
open?
I'm open to wherever. I just thought the long table so that more people can actually be at the table
Right.
and in the space. And then also we're talking about the surrounding
60
chairs.
60 plus space. That's
We
what
had
talking
counted
about.
that.
Yeah.
And the
And
reason
then
for
the whole long.
and then the reason for the second room is so that we're not distracted by food. Like it can really be focused on the speaking big aspect.
But Stephanie, one thing I have in mind, I believe Joyce mentioned here, it's a good location, we can have space, we have to do.
Yeah, we're just waiting for them to respond.
Yeah, we're just waiting, we just plan B in case they respond too late.
Yeah.
Now, if you want, they.
I have a question though, in addition to all the things that we already decided in our Sunday conversation. Of course, do we want to invite the executive director of the hospital
For what?
to welcome to our house and as part of a professional at the table?
Matter to me. I just want to make sure we make room for like students actually being able to talk. That's all. So
I mean,
it's her.
like
They're
higher
home.
people
So
will be great because they could take in on what the community needs and everything. The more people who make a difference in this community could come and listen because they're the ears that we need to reach, if anything.
Madam Chair, one thing I have in mind that when you are using their space and community group one are using all the time their space, and I mentioned in Lincoln, I never heard they turn us down. They never say. They say yes to us all the time, even community meeting, full board meeting. But it is kind of appreciation. If education committee say, okay, sir, you are invited in our program.
No, yeah.
Probably he will not attend. But he is a busy person.
No, yeah,
But
of course.
it is showing
Because it
that.
could change stuff in there.
Yeah,
It could change stuff in the Lincoln Hospital. So.
I don't know. It's like what I'm
Because don't
thinking.
they
Joyce,
have to
is-
say like if
I don't have any objections to it. I just want us to be intentional around like who's presenting, because it's not like an array of different people presenting. We want to create the space where we can have open dialogue. So sometimes that open dialogue is shortened and it's limited if other people are talking, saying what they have to say.
Well, no, we all know for sure that it's only teenagers talking. We know that for sure.
And whatever officials come.
Unless we have anybody else presenting, which is why we will have like a outline of the day, like what's gonna happen from 1 to 3. If an example.
Well, we have to create an agenda for sure.
Right. Yes.
Oh, we don't have an agenda yet?
But the agenda is gonna be strategized.
I had
so there's nobody
assigned
just
that to
gonna be
Nisha,
talking.
but
Unless we do open discussion.
Stephanie, if we look at this way, if we invite elected official, board of president, council member, director of hospital, don't we give them a space to?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They should
Yeah.
come too.
But we can ask them to say a few words.
Yeah, and I
I don't have any objections to
It
that.
would be better interaction if elected official have the opportunity and the commitment for the young people. for the
Yes, to
community.
listen. No, they should
Yeah,
for
that's
sure.
like, it's not like only for the students.
No, I'm saying the kids. We want to listen to the kids.
No, of course.
So they're gonna
They are
speak.
priority.
Yes, and then elective officials is gonna be there to take notes on what's.
They could do like a 3-minute speech or something.
Yeah,
Just
we
let them
can
know
do
what they
that.
offer, how
Yeah.
What they are, like what. They
what
do for the
connections they could do
community,
going forward and stuff.
Yeah.
How what are their titles?
That,
What could get out of it?
that would contribute the elected official, young people, and community board. There is a collaboration there. So let's work. This is my proposal. I think this is a good idea
Mm-hmm.
to be connected with the elected official and the student and the community. Of course, the meeting is, we are not open for everyone. We are specific for this limit. George, did I say we are very specific?
Mm-hmm.
Since you mentioned with the age, with the schools, so it will be 23rd of this month,
June
oh,
7th.
June.
Pending in case we gotta
At 11.
at 11 a.m.
So you said June 11.
Give me the flyer.
Saturday, June
Oh my
7th.
God, I don't know.
That's cute.
June 11 at,
Now, Claudia.
yeah, what the time?
School? 11 a.m.
Claudia?
Claudia? Oh, Claudia. Okay. She didn't fix the black.
She what?
No, the flag. She didn't clear the black one. Okay. Any more discussions on this event?
I don't think right now. I think right now it's just going to be a matter of getting the accurate email addresses to make sure we
Right.
reach the target and just monitoring responses.
Are you guys using, did any of you guys send out emails or is just Anthony?
Anthony.
Anthony sent it out, BCC folks, and I think CC does.
Okay.
And then in the body of the email, it asks for responses to come to us. So I haven't checked the Gmail. For
Our
is it
our
the,
email, the same
okay.
email as we will share.
Got it. And then we're sending out emails, waiting for response, waiting for kids' response, because the principal
Yeah.
could be okay with it, but now we have to make sure that the kids are available.
Another thing I had asked Anthony about was communicating with the Bronx Borough Office about consent, photo consent. Any update on that?
We're waiting to hear back from the corporation council.
Did they give us an estimate of when they would be responding?
No. This is a very busy season, budget and amongst other things, elections, everything else. So we put the ask out away from the response.
How long ago did we put the ask out?
When we last talked about it.
In April?
No, we talked about it, when we talked about it in our last, and when was the meeting, the first meeting?
Yeah, we spoke about it in our April meeting.
So that's the one.
Anthony, yeah. That's okay. So that's when it went out. So I think a month later we should circle back to see what the status is. We have less than a month. If we're planning to take any sort of photos, if you're under 18, we need consent. Like we wouldn't be able to post it on social media or use the likeness of. If that's not a big deal, then we won't take any pictures. Go off
The
of
guy
it.
that we used before.
No, I'm saying permission.
Consent to do
Consent.
We can do our own consent.
Did we do this for the job fair?
Yeah, we
How did you do it?
job fair. We just asked him to record and he recorded and that's it.
But it wasn't like we didn't have that many young. Okay, listen, don't. I'm fine. I'm just because even if like those who are here, like those representatives that are here, if they decide to take pictures and use that, in terms of an event that they're taking part of, it can get messy. That's all. So if we're not worried about it getting messy, so be it.
Well, no.
I'm going to ask her. I'll follow
Let's
up with
rephrase that,
again.
because we worried, we won't want it to get messy, but there won't be a reason to be messy.
Well, some parents may not want their son or daughter on social media. So we took a chance, even at the job fair, to post. And we don't know what the reach will be. Like we're asking AOC to be present.
So what we do is, in the invitation that we send the principal, we have a waiver. Is it during this event, there will be pictures that we posted.
Right. So what we're saying is that waiver, if there's an official, like I have a generic one that I use for the GOE, we can adapt that to make it ours. But I think Anthony wanted to get permission from the borough office. He said he asked a month ago and they haven't gotten a response. So then I'm wondering, can we circle back to see any updated?
I think I'll do it again right now so we won't prolong this conversation.
No.
I'm trying to look up schools, the names of schools. District.
Madam Chair, in the new business, I'd like to put something.
gonna send an email, set agenda on that date, for that date, right? The waiver, well, the waiver's gonna be in the email.
I put the age you're targeting, so make sure they won't send you anyone under the
Well,
teenage.
but I don't think you have to put age if it's
No, we have
an
to.
email sent
No.
to high
We don't
school.
wanna confuse nobody or nothing.
Well, read the letter and see how you want to edit it.
No, I'm saying we should put the age, because look, just by them asking, you know.
Yeah, that's read the letter, and then see where you want to put the age. That I think that would be helpful.
The password? Oh, never mind. Never mind. I was saying.
You want me to send it to you? I think I wrote it
Yeah.
down.
Is that?
It was in our
group chat, right?
yeah, for the job.
But I wrote it down.
Okay, yeah.
I'll text it to you.
Bam, agenda. All right, can I have a quick motion
Which one for?
to adjourn?
Yeah, before you adjourn, I have something discussing regarding the immigration meeting is next Friday, 16. And I want to invite everyone.
Oh, okay, yes.
Because DMSN is here, right? It's here,
Yes.
and it will be 16th of this month, and it is 6 o'clock.
Okay.
So I'm honestly inviting
That's
Tracy, Jackie, and Madam Chair, and that's all I have.
Okay.
Now, I like to make a motion to adjourn today's meeting.
All right.
I
Second.
second.
All right. Adjourn.
Because so soon.
Yeah, look, all right, man. All right, now let me know when it's